YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about a player that just absolutely, at least in my mind, makes total sense for the Celtics to be able to, one, realistically go out there and target, and two, expect to make a huge impact on the team both now and in 5 years or so. So I'm gonna give you guys a few hints because I know I'm gonna make the title something mysterious. You guys aren't gonna know exactly who we're talking about heading into this video. So I'm gonna give you guys a few hints. Let's see how quickly you can get it. This player is 22 years old. He really hasn't had the best health history in the NBA. He's played 60 games, 13 games, 42 games in his 3-year career. He was the number 2 overall pick in 2018. Plays for the Kings right now. If you haven't guessed it yet, we're talking about Marvin Bagley today. Personally, I think Marvin Bagley is an unbelievably realistic target for the Celtics to go out and get. And like I already said, he's the guy that, if healthy, it's a big if. We're going to talk about that in this video. If healthy, he's going to be able to impact the team right now and potentially for years to come. So in today's video, we're going to take a peek at Marvin Bagley's highlights. We're going to react to them because that's what we do around here. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to give you my entire take on why I believe this could be a perfect fit and a perfect trade for the Celtics to make. Before we get into that, I'm gonna ask you guys to please hit that subscribe button and like the video, and then comment down below what you think of this trade. But yeah, let's take a quick peek here. Marvin Bagley, 3 years. Obviously, he was the number 2 overall pick. 15 points a game, 14 points a game, 14 points a game. But here is the biggest thing, is that he's only played, 62 games, which is his rookie year. He missed 20 games that year. Then he only played 13 the next year. Then he only played 43 last year. Like, this kid has been so injury ridden, and we're definitely going to touch on that later on in the video. But first, let's get into his highlights and let's react to them. And then we'll talk about why I do think, even with the injury history, and even with his shortcomings so far, why I think that he could be a perfect fit here. And before we get into the highlights, I do want to let you guys know that I met Marvin Bagley the third, and I guess the second. I met his dad as well at the same time, and I have kind of a funny story and funny interaction with him that took place before he was even in college. So stay tuned for that as well, but let's get to these highlights. All right, we're watching one of his best games of his career. He dropped 31 points last year against the Pacers. That's what we're gonna react to here. Because again, this guy is all about potential. That's why I want him on the Celtics. It has nothing to do with what he's done so far. It's about his potential. So I figure let's watch him at his best to kind of just, give him the fair shot. Let's see what he can do. Not what he's done, but what can he do. Woo! I would have liked if he finished that. I'm gonna be completely honest. He kind of had me about to get out of my seat after that double clutch finish, but whatever. The tip-in I'll take. He's 6'11", 240, I think. Maybe 6'10", I don't know. 6'11", I'm gonna ride with because it sounds better. He's long as hell. Like, he could definitely help this team. And he can kind of stretch the floor. I'm not gonna say he's a shooter because he's not, but he can stretch the floor. Whew. And he can handle the ball like this. Right on Sabonis. Take it to him. Flush it, young fella. Or finger roll layup. I couldn't have been more wrong there. Hold on, hold on. Don't think you're slipping one by me here, Mr. Marvin Bagley. Where the heck are you here? He's not even in the frame. The dude's cherry picking. What is he doing? Oh my gosh. Hey, kind of respect it. It worked out. Let's see what he's got in the post. Let's see what he's got in the post. Rashawn Holmes. Marvin Bagley offensive board tip-in. Ooh. Take it to him. That's a tough finish. He got bumped a couple times, and honestly, he's not the most durable guy in the world. We know that via the injuries. But I like the fact that he can push it like that. Like, that is a nice play right there. This is a 6'11" guy dribbling it up the court and finishing soft. Damn. See how he is in the pick and roll. Finishing strong right in Sabonis. Could have been an N1 too. That looked too easy. He looked like he dunked without jumping. All right, guys, so we saw the highlights, and I'm not gonna lie, no one's claiming that those highlights make him look like an MVP candidate or even that he's lived up to that number 2 overall pick status, right? To me, Marvin Bagley is the ultimate sort of, hey, we could trade for him and the upside is endless. And it wouldn't take much to give him. Like, there's rumors and murmurs out there that Marvin Bagley, you know, the Knicks are starting to sour on him, and because he hasn't stayed healthy, because he hasn't lived up to what they drafted him at, they're looking to move him. And I really don't think it would be that hard to pluck him out of Sacramento and put him in Boston. I would assume Sacramento wants some players back because he does have potential, and everyone in the league knows that. But if they didn't want any players back, you could use the trade exception. You could use the money you have to go out and just get Marvin Bagley, and you don't even have to give up anyone else on the team. But if you did want to give up players, I do think I have something that Sacramento might be interested in. Romeo Langford, Grant Williams, and then sort of a filler like a Chris Dunn or someone along that lines to make up some money and whatnot. Sacramento might say, hey, I know we're probably giving up the best player in the deal, but we've had way too long with him. He's obviously just absolutely underwhelmed us. Let's get a couple young guys in return in Romeo Langford and Grant Williams. Then, hey, throwing Chris Dunn in this example, Sacramento might just pull the trigger on that. So to me, this Marvin Bagley situation fits in perfectly. Just in terms of trades, you know, you could use the exception on him, or you can give up a few of your players that aren't completely tied to the core of your team, aka you're adding some huge upside value without giving up anything that's truly tied to where this team's headed. Why do I think Marvin Bagley would fit here? He's 6'11", 240 pounds, and only going to get stronger. He'd automatically be the tallest guy on the Celtics right now. Like, this would allow you to do so many different things. You could go big. The Celtics don't have a lineup right now where that really allows them to go big. Even if they went Al Horford and Robert Williams at the 5 and 4, all of a sudden it's like, well, then who's coming off the bench? So he just allows your lineup to, one, go big right away. Robert Williams and Marvin Bagley next to each other. You're long, you're athletic, you're young. That's not even the biggest point. The way I think that he could fit into this offense fits perfectly in 2 ways. He can run the floor. He can even get the ball and kind of move it himself. Not that I'm asking him to do that in Boston, but he can get the ball, move it himself, but he can run the floor. And he's the type of player that can run with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and make some damn good things happen in transition. So big lineups, he's long, he can run. Those are kind of the first 2 reasons. The third one, why I think that he'd fit perfectly here, is he's the type of guy that could come in here and absolutely strive as being the 3rd or 4th option on this team. He's 22 years old. He's got loads of potential still in him, and he's young enough that he can just forget all that crap in Sacramento behind. He can leave it all there. He doesn't have to worry about the injuries. It's a fresh start, clean slate. And we technically could be getting in Boston that number 2 pick after the baggage has been erased and after the slate has been wiped clean. So yeah, I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. I'm curious to see what you guys think, because I think that he's the type of player that can come in here and all of a sudden, oh man, wow, he stays healthy. And again, knock on wood, like, that's the biggest thing. We're taking the gamble here. I'm completely owning that. He can come in here and automatically help this team, but then imagine what he could be in 4 years. When he's 26 years old, a former number 2 pick in the draft, imagine what he could be, and then say all it took was some money to get him, or all it took was Romeo Langford and Grant Williams to get him. Yikes, man. Sign me up for that one all day long. Hope you guys like that. Let me know what you think of that trade in the comments down below. So I did want to tell you, I did have the story, right? I had the story about Marvin Bagley. So I worked the Hoop Hall event at Springfield College. I was the liaison, I think we called it, for his team. He went to school somewhere in Arizona, right? And he was sort of the, you know, the high profile player at the tournament that year. So when you're a liaison for the team, obviously you kind of get assigned the team, but then it's like, hey, we have a guy committed to Duke. Stick to him like glue, like almost you're his bodyguard or whatnot. So all of a sudden, you know, I'm just sticking with him. I'm talking to him. He's all right. You know, he's like, who's this little white kid that's sticking around with me? Like, I don't need to see him, right? But he gets taped up and whatnot. He tapes his wrist up. And then after the game, he goes, hey, can I have some scissors? I grab scissors and give it to him. And then all of a sudden, his dad like intervenes and was like, whoa, don't let him touch those. Don't let him touch those. And I was like, what? He's like, what if he cuts himself? And I was like, okay, helicopter parent alert. And that's the last I heard. So I don't know if his dad's still like that or if even that was the norm. But I was just like, okay, I'm sorry I gave your son scissors after he asked for scissors. Yeah, I don't know. That was just funny to me to think back on. You know, I see him in the NBA now. I'm like, wow, I literally was, you know, talking to him and hanging out with him for like 4 hours one day. But yeah, that was a little Ev story time. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think of the trade down below. And as always, hit that subscribe button and like this video. And I'm going to catch you guys in the next one.